Welcome to the Harp-E version 3 Stringing, Tuning, and Regulating video tutorial. This is the place to start if you have the String and Go package, and your next step if you have assembled a DIY package. Let's begin. You will find your strings inside the front pocket of your case. Take them out and set them aside. Unzip the main pocket, and there you will find the assembled harp frame, stand, feet, and a black box. Take everything out of the case and set it aside for now. Open the black box, and inside you will find the strap and buckles, if ordered, eyelets, a couple hex keys, a battery, and stickers. Apart from the tools included, you will also need scissors and a tuner. If you don't own a physical tuner, you can download a tuning app on your phone. Many of them are cheap or even free. Some other tools that can help are pliers and a small screwdriver. Now that we have all the tools, we can move on to the preliminary steps. This section is for those with the String and Go package. If you have a DIY package and have already assembled your harp, skip to minute 435. To prep for stringing, grab your hex key and get a feel for how the tuning pins move by turning them in both directions just a bit. Screw in any pins that might be sticking out of it, but they don't all have to be aligned. When doing this, make sure the pins run smoothly. If some have a lot of friction, unscrew them a bit so they are further out. Tuning should be smooth, not too tight, not too loose. Get confident with the pins because you will be doing a lot of tuning in the next couple of weeks as the harp settles. Now that we are familiar with the pins, turn your harp to its side and align the holes on the inside of the tuning pins with the holes in the soundboard. This is where your strings will go. Let's check if the stand fits nicely into the harp. There should be a little resistance so it doesn't move when you play. Just like the pins, it should not be too tight or too loose. If you struggle to fit the stand into the frame, find the tightest spot and unscrew a little bit the closest bolt. Try fitting the stand in then. If it still struggles to fit in the frame, do the same with the other bolts one at a time until you are able to smoothly fit the stand. If the stand is too loose, do the opposite. Try inserting the stand in different positions and check if it fits properly in each one. If you feel that the bolt is only turning in the hole and not tightening, turn the harp on its side and screw it from both sides using the two hex keys of the same size. Now let's take a look at the electronics. Connect the battery to the black cable sticking out of the electronics unit. The battery should slide in easily and snugly. If it's difficult to insert, grab your larger hex key and very slightly unscrew the nearby bolt of the frame until the battery can fit. Plug any 1/4-inch cable into the jack. You can find these at any music store. Make sure the light turns on. A white light indicates the battery is full. A low battery will be indicated with red. Feel free to connect your Harp-E to an amp to test the sound. You can do this by tapping on the body of the instrument. Welcome back, DIY folks. We are going to start with assembling the stand. Grab your large wooden piece, 2 wooden feet, and silicone stickers for this step. Insert the 2 feet into the notches on the shorter end of the stand. Make sure they are not too tight or too loose. Give them a shake to check if they fall out. If they are too loose, you can wrap a piece of tape into the notch of the feet to make a lighter fit. If you don't like how that looks, another fix is adding a few drops of super glue on the sides of the notch and letting it dry fully before trying again. If you are doing this hack, make sure you can still easily insert and remove the feet. Grab your silicone stickers and stick them to the bottom of the feet at each end. Hold them for a few seconds to make sure they stick. The stickers can come off over time or with force. This is not a problem. You can just super glue the stickers onto the feet for a better hold. Try testing them out by moving the stand on a smooth surface to see that the stickers don't move out of place or unstick. Now that we have assembled the stand, we are ready to begin with step 1. Eyelets. Grab your scissors, small screwdriver, and eyelets of course for this step. Stand your harp on its side. We will be placing the eyelets into the holes on the metal sheet at the top of your harp. Take your small screwdriver and use it to push the eyelets in. Check that everything is inserted properly without easily falling out. Now we can string the harp. Step 2. Strings. Place the harp on a flat surface, lever side up, and get your bag of strings. Take the string labeled with a 24. It should be a thick red string. This will be your low C. This next part will be a review for those who have already played harp. We will be doing the string knot. For those who are new to the harp, it can be a bit tricky at first, but with some practice, you will get the hang of it. We recommend practicing a couple times with something bigger, like a charging cable or rope. I will go through the steps slowly. Grab your string and make sure the string end is up and the long side is down. Make a loop towards the left with the string end over the long one. Grab the remaining string end and make a second, smaller loop. Try to make it as close as possible to the end of the string. If you don't have enough string, adjust the first loop so you have enough to work with. The string end should go over the long end just like in the first loop. Insert the small loop into the larger loop from back to front. While holding the small loop, tighten the string by pulling on the long end as hard as you can with your other hand. It helps to hold the small loop with your fingers to prevent it from falling out. Once you got the knot, slightly pull on the short string end to tighten the small loop. Congrats! Now you know the harp knot! Now that we've finished the knot, we can string it. The first string, 24C, goes into the last hole on the mechanism sheet, the one towards the long end of the frame. Pull it all the way through. The eyelet for this string is all the way down the soundboard, right next to the electronics unit. Because of its location, this is the most difficult string to insert. To reach this tricky eyelet, we bend the string end to create an angle. Once it's inside the eyelet, feed it through both the hole and the tuning pin. You can experiment with adjusting the alignment of the pin to make it easier to feed the string. If you are struggling with getting the string into the tuning pin, you can feed it through the hole from the front. Rotate the pin to access the string end and continue pulling through. Once you got the string in the pin snugly, you can start tightening the string by winding the pin clockwise while holding the end with your other hand. Don't tighten it too fast as it can break, so do it slowly. Pulling the string tightly with your other hand while you turn the tuning pin will allow the string to stretch a bit, speeding up the tuning process. We want the string to wind on the side of the tuning key. To do this, pull the tail end towards the opposite side of the pin while winding. The string end will start winding around the pin as you keep turning. Pull it out on each rotation so the end continues to be taut. We can slowly bring the string to the right pitch using our tuner. In this case, the string we are tuning is the C an octave below middle C if you are tuning with the lever down, or C sharp if you are tuning with the lever up. Some tuners will display the note as D flat. C sharp and D flat are the same note. If you are unfamiliar with harps and feel overwhelmed in this step, don't worry, we don't have to fully tune now. You can leave the string a bit loose and we will get back to this later. For those tuning the strings immediately, remember not to tighten the strings too fast. I can't stress this enough. If you tune too fast, they can break. Let's continue with the next string, number 23, which is D sharp with the lever up, D with the lever down. We will have some more practice with the string knot. Try to make the knot as small as possible to prevent buzzes and to give yourself more string to work with. We will use the same knot for the first 8 strings of the harp. Here, our demonstrator does the knot again, but he prefers to do the second loop first. With practice, you will find the method that works for you. Pull the string through the top, through the eyelet in the soundboard, and then through the tuning pin. Make sure that you are stringing it through the eyelet right next to the first string. This one is a lot easier to do, so you're already a pro. Always make sure the tuning pin moves smoothly. If you feel that's not the case, take the string out and slightly unscrew the tuning pin. It's okay if it's a bit further out compared to the other pins. They don't all need to be at equal depth, but they all need to move smoothly to not damage the pin. Remember to pull on the string end tightly as you turn, and to unwind the tail as the pin turns. Go ahead and flip the lever up and tune the string to D sharp or E flat. Your tuner will display the note as either. Of course, you can skip this and wait until later in the video if you are new to tuning. We can move on to the third string, which is E with the lever up, E flat with the lever down. To skip ahead, the next string, the black string, is F with the lever down, F sharp with the lever up. The one after that is G with the lever down, G sharp with the lever up. Your tuner may also display this as A flat. The one after that is A flat with the lever down, A with the lever up. And after that, it's B flat with the lever down, B with the lever up. The string after B is C, and the whole cycle starts again. Pause and take a look at the knots from the top. Check that they're all sitting neatly and pointing in the same direction. If they're not, twist the knots so they all face the same way. Pluck the 8 strings you've put on so far to check for any buzzes. If the string end on the knot is too long or hitting the wood, metal sheet, or a neighboring string, cut the excess with scissors or cutting pliers. If the loops are so large that they are hitting a neighboring string or the wood, use regular pliers or your fingers to pull on the string end to make the loop smaller. If after this you still have buzzes, don't worry. These buzzes may resolve on their own after the strings settle. When you get to the second D, or string number 16, you use the same knot, but there's an additional step. First, take your scissors and cut 16 pieces of about 1 centimeter in length from the leftovers of either of your 2 lowest strings. You can use the box or bag that the materials came from as a way to catch your string bits. These will be used in the knots for the following strings. These bits are called anchors or barrels in the harp world. They prevent the smaller strings from falling through the eyelets when you tune them. Here's how your second knot will look like. As you can see, the difference is inserting the anchor through the loops before pulling through. If you've never done this knot before, I highly recommend starting with a small string and go bigger from there. Don't string your instrument out of order, but starting with knotting the smaller strings will make the process easier in the beginning. If you are an experienced harpist, this is probably not the anchor knot that you are used to. Through trial and error, we discovered that this version of the knot causes the least buzzes. Now, let me walk you through this slowly. Take a string, in this case, I am using a small string to make things easier, and grab an anchor. Keep it nearby. Do the harp knot as usual. Remember to make a loop with the string end over the long end. Then make another, smaller loop, also with the string end over the long end. Insert the second loop into the first loop from the back. Gently tighten the knot, but not all the way. Leave it a little bit loose. Grab your anchor and hold the knot between your fingers to keep it from unraveling. Insert the anchor into the second loop from front to back. It should go in the space in the loop hanging out to the side, not in the large middle space. Now this is the tricky part that may require some patience. Carefully insert the anchor back to front into the tiny space between the 2 loops near the top. You may have to force open this space. This is not the large space in the middle. This is the small space above it. If done correctly, the anchor should be held snugly between the 2 loops when you let go. Once you got the hang of it, grab both ends of the string and pull tightly. The loops should wrap around the anchor neatly. On a larger string, this process may be more difficult and not as pretty. Let me demonstrate. As you can see, it can be harder to tighten the loops completely by hand. Don't worry if you struggle and can't completely tighten it. You can still use the knot. The forces acting upon it when you string the harp will tighten the loops over time, making it look much neater. So, don't worry if your knots look like mine. That's perfectly okay. One thing that can help is using a fork to tighten. Simply place the string between two prongs and pull. If your string end is long enough, you can tighten the other loop this way too. Another hack is to gently pull the short string end with pliers. Do not use pliers on the long end that goes in your harp. This will damage your usable string. Now that looks better. Once you got the knot down, continue adding the rest of the strings in order. For every new string you put on, go back and tune the older ones because they will go down in pitch quickly since they're new. This is if you know your way around tuning, of course. If not, leave them loose and we can tune them later. We can skip ahead now to the end. Congrats! You just strung your Harp-E. This is a nice moment for a well-deserved break. When you're ready to move on, take a look at the top to tidy things up. We want to make sure that the knots and anchors are pointing in the same direction. The end goal is that no strings touch each other or the frame because this can cause buzzes. If some tails on the knots are too long, go ahead and cut them. Once everything looks good, let's turn the harp around to look at this craziness. Make sure that the tails aren't creating extra loops on the pins. You can use the tuning key as a hook to get the hard-to-reach strings out. Cut the excess string ends with your scissors, leaving about a 2 cm tail. Keep the string end and label to use as a backup string in the future. Work your way around all the strings. Once this is complete, we can move on to Step 3. Stickers and levers. Take the red and black stickers and place them on the metal fingers. Red stickers for the red strings, black stickers for the black strings. Feel free to stick the extras on the lever indents. Before we move on to tuning and regulating, we have to check that the levers are in alignment with the mechanism sheet. Look at every lever and test them out to see that they're not touching, moving, or getting scratched by a neighboring metal finger. If the levers are out of alignment, we have to space them out. Grab the tricky lever and shimmy it up and down while pushing it in the direction it needs to go to avoid touching its neighbor. To make enough room, you may need to do this with several of the levers on that side. Do this until all of them are aligned properly. Now we can move on to the last few steps. Step 4. Tuning. Time to go back and tune your strings again, now as a fully strung harp. Make sure you have a quiet environment when tuning. Start by flipping all your levers up, which is the sharp position. Place your tuner near the string you will be tuning. Pluck the string and use the tuning key to turn the pins. Turning the pin clockwise will make the string tighter, making the pitch higher. Turning the pin counterclockwise will loosen the string, making the pitch lower. For those unfamiliar with harps, levers raise or lower a string by a half step and can set the instrument to a specific key, for example, the key of C major. For tuning regularly, it doesn't matter what key you are setting it in as long as you are tuning the strings accordingly. We suggest flipping all the levers up and tuning it in the key of E major, which I already walked you through earlier. Harpists have realized over the centuries that tuning to E major allows you to reach most keys. As a refresher, the key of E major has the following notes, in string order: C sharp/D flat, D sharp/E flat, E, F sharp, G sharp/A flat, A, and B. This repeats all the way up the harp. With all the levers up, your first string, the red one, should be C sharp. This is the C an octave below middle C. The hashtag-looking symbol on your tuner indicates that this note is a half step higher than a regular C. On your tuner, when you see a line go to the middle or turn green and stay there, this indicates that your string is in tune. So remember, the hashtag symbol means sharp, as in higher, and the small b symbol you saw earlier means flat, as in lower. Flat notes are a half step below the natural note. Natural notes will not have these symbols. Once the first string is tuned, you can move on until you're finished. Step 5. Repeat until stable. We are at the home stretch. At this point of the process, we have to continue tuning twice a day, every day, until the harp is stable, which may take a few weeks. This will require patience, but the payoff is worth it. If you feel comfortable with stringing and have experience, you can speed up this process significantly by overtuning your strings, especially the lower ones. But remember, this is only for pros. The lower 4 strings can be overtuned by one whole step. The rest of this octave and the next can be overtuned by one half step. The highest octaves and top 3 strings should only be overtuned by one quarter step. Always be very careful if you are overtuning, and do not attempt if you are not a pro. Remember, tuning too much, too fast, can cause the strings to break. After a few weeks, when the strings have settled, we can move on to step 6, adjusting. We are ready to clean things up and regulate. When we say the strings are settled, we mean that the Harp-E doesn't go out of tune in the same day after tuning. This could take a while, up to a few weeks, so be patient. Let's double check if everything is stable. If you haven't tuned your harp today and it stayed green, this shows that the harp is ready and you can start regulating. Regulation is the process of assuring the string is in tune when you raise or lower the lever. If you regulate too soon, you will have to do it again as the strings can continue to stretch. Grab your small hex key. You will need it for this step. Let's put the levers in the ideal pattern for regulating, which is C major. We put the first 2 levers down, skip 1, put the next 2 down, skip 2, and repeat until the top of the harp. Make sure the levers are in the same position for every octave. Let's start on the low C string. As a refresher, when the lever is up, it should be a C sharp. When it's down, it should be a regular C. If the tuner shows your note is flat when the lever is down, you need to unscrew the bolt a bit to bring it out. The bolt essentially works as a stopper. Unscrewing it makes the lever move a smaller distance. If the tuner says the note is too high with the lever down, screw in the bolt more. This increases the distance the lever moves. Adjust the bolt until you get the note in tune with the lever down. This can take a bit of patience and care. Now repeat this process for all the strings. From lever up to lever down, the notes are the following: C sharp to C, D sharp to D, E to E flat, F sharp to F, G sharp to G, A to A flat, B to B flat, and it repeats from there. If you find it difficult to make a string go down all the way, don't worry. The most likely reason is that you started regulating too soon. Give it some time and go back to regulating within a few days and see if you continue experiencing this issue. If after a long time you are still experiencing this, we have a troubleshooting video on our channel that you can check out. Click on the link in the description. After you finish regulating, put the harp back in C major. That should be its default state when you are not using it. If you leave all the levers up or all the levers down when not in use, the regulation may fluctuate due to the drastic changes in string tension. C major is a good in-between because half of the strings are raised and half are lowered, keeping the tension on the instrument at a medium. Step 7. Finishing touches. Let's do an overview of the harp. Assemble your stand and insert it into the frame. Make sure everything fits nicely. Test it out on every notch. Also, feel free to trim down your string tail ends to 1 centimeter long. Now let's practice putting everything together in the bag. Take apart the stand and secure it with the side and top Velcro straps. The shape of the stand following the shape of the bag. You know you are doing this correctly if the short end of the stand follows the wider side of the bag. Place the 2 feet neatly stacked on the inside of the remaining center strap and fasten. It doesn't matter which direction they face. Place the Harp-E over the stand and feet. It should fit like a jigsaw puzzle. Go over the sides to make sure everything fits well. Secure the frame with the stretchy straps with buckles at the end, found on the sides. And don't forget to put your levers all the way down before closing your bag. You can now zip up. You can place the tuning and regulator keys along with spare strings, strap, music, and whatever you want in the spacious front pocket. And we are done! Have lots of fun with your new Harp-E! If you want to share your Harp-E adventures with us, tag us in your posts and we can share them on our social media. Happy harping!